All right, Mercedes, we are going to have an amazing interview, but I got some questions before we jump into all this financial literacy stuff.
Okay, I'm ready. What do you got for me?
All right, favorite NFL team?
Denver Broncos, Bo Nix.
How you feel about this season?
I'm actually very hopeful. I
Okay,
really think that, he's a great quarterback, and I think that's what Denver teams need is a great
sure,
quarterback. And
sure.
so I'm very hopeful. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I know you're into music. What's your recent favorite concert?
I just went and saw Lady Gaga, and she was so good. Opening night, Mayhem Ball.
Okay.
I felt like I went to church.
I love it. I also saw that you saw New Edition too. I wish me and my wife were at that show.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah,
Do you love New Edition?
yeah, yeah. They're probably one of the greatest groups of all time, especially with R&B.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. And final question. I know you're a sneakerhead. Shout out to you and I both wearing, you know, RJ's. So I have to ask you, what is your favorite Jordan of all time?
Oh, I love the 11s. I
Hmm.
love the
Classic.
shiny
Yeah.
toes. My favorite 11s that I own are the rose golds. They're
Okay.
like the
Hmm.
pinky with the shiny. I just love 11s. What about you?
I had to go ones. I'm wearing some ones right now. I think the ones are just classic. You can dress them up or down. You could do that with most
Yeah.
Jordans, but the ones are just timeless. I really like the ones. Fours are dope too.
Fours are
You
cool,
know,
yeah.
yeah.
So I've got fives on right now. But I love that this is a financial literacy podcast. We're talking about ones, 11s, fives, fours. This is
Right.
good. It's a good theme.
I love it. Thank you for just being a good sport. And yeah, let's get into it. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Financial Seeds podcast, where we believe that financial freedom is built one conversation at a time. I'm your host, JimDre Westbrook, and every week we are here to empower families to go from striving to thriving by having smart, practical money talks. Today's episode, we are going to talk about money in kids and how parents can establish those smart financial habits early on. If you look at adults, 80%, over 80% of adults wish that they had financial literacy conversations in their household. I'm one of those 80%. And if you are also out there wondering how can you switch that up for your family, you've come to the right podcast. We're all about having those conversations where we just make them normal, casual conversations about how we can improve the youth and give them the tools that we did not have. So, again, welcome back. If this is your first time, we appreciate you tapping in with us today. Trust me, you are in for a treat. We have a celebrity in the house, right? And not just a local celebrity. I'm talking worldwide celebrity. This person is a media mogul. This person is she does everything. If you are here locally in Las Vegas, we're just not going to say TV and radio personality because she's way much more than that. She's also a wife. She's also a mother and a dear friend of Silver State Schools Credit Union. So, and she's also my friend too. So, we are going to introduce no other than Mercedes Martinez to the
Oh,
podcast.
thank you, my friend. It's so good to be here with you. And you're doing such a great job on this podcast. I love it. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Learn from the best. Because as I said, you do a lot of things around here locally, but everywhere. Tell our audience, exactly kind of what you do from a day to day, who you're involved with around the city, and some of the activations we've done together with Silver State Schools Credit Union.
Yeah, well, I've been doing morning radio here in Las Vegas for 25 years. It's hard to believe, hosting Mercedes in the Morning on Mix 94.1. Like you said, I'm a TV host too. I'm also an in-arena host for our professional volleyball team here in Las Vegas. And yeah, I have my own podcast, but my relationship with Silver State Schools Credit Union is has just been one of my favorite things that I've done because not only do you guys obviously put your money where your mouth is, you guys really you want to educate people. You're there for your customers, and I'm just so proud to be a part of this organization. It's been such a great relationship, and you guys have helped not just me but my family so much. My daughters are account holders, and it's just been a great relationship. So I'm really grateful for it, and I think a podcast like this is so important. So I'm so glad you're doing it.
Thank you. We appreciate that love. We're going to get into the conversations that you may have with your daughters. This being a family finance podcast, we just truly appreciate your partnership.
Yeah.
It's a real partnership. It isn't just smoking screens, or you're just kind of saying this because you're here. It's a true, rich partnership, and we just really appreciate it.
And you know it's a partnership when JimDre and I are texting each other like, "Hey, are you gonna wear Jordans for this interview?" You know it's it's a friendship here, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yes, yes, me too. And we're gonna talk about, Jordans
Oh
sometime
boy.
during this. But first things first, as we are talking about kids and money and making sure that parents can have those type of financial conversations when it comes to your approach. Did you grow up with financial literacy in your upbringing, and what about your family? I kind of want to get both stories.
Well, like you, I didn't really have that in my life, and I look back and I think about some of the things I learned, and while they were valuable, I'm thinking, why wasn't there a class on how to balance a checkbook? What is a checkbook? I honestly, I did not know what a mortgage was until I was in my 20s. Is that bad? Like, I had no idea what that even meant. And so I think of the opportunities that some kids are having now. And when Silver State Schools Credit Union goes into the schools, and I've gone with you into the schools to teach financial literacy, these kids are glued to what we are saying because
Yeah.
they just want to learn more. So, yeah, I didn't have that, and I really look back and feel like there were so many opportunities for the schools to teach that, but they didn't. And so now I'm hopeful. I think this is really cool that we're starting to do this.
Yeah, no, it is, you don't really realize how much it means until, like, you have your own family, you have a job such as this where the demand's high,
Yes.
very high. And even though we've done hundreds of financial literacy workshops here in CCSD, like, we need to do more, like everyone needs this type of information. So I love the fact, with our partnership, you're able to attend some of those workshops, facilitate some of those. But what about the ones inside your household? Because you didn't get that education, how do those conversations look like, with you having teenage daughters? When did you start having those type of conversations? Like, what did that look like inside your home?
Well, I think before you teach financial literacy, it's the number one lesson that kids can get very young is value. Like, what is value? Because that can lead to the finance part. And so I always taught them value at a young age. And to a young child, value could be their toys or a piece of candy. One thing that really I think started to make things click financially for my kids was on Halloween, they would get a gigantic bag of candy, right? And as a mom, I'm looking at this like, oh, I do not want them to eat that whole bag of candy. So my husband and I would say, okay, so here's the deal, pick 10 to 20 pieces that you want to keep. And the tooth fairy, she doesn't just come when you lose a tooth, she will come and collect this candy and buy it from you. And they're like, "Money for okay." So one, they were excited because they assessed a value to this candy. So they're like, "Okay, I'm gonna pick the 10 best pieces." They did that. But then there's this bag left over, and they're like, "How much do you think the tooth fairy is gonna give me for this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. How much does it weigh?" We really analyze things. So they leave it on the kitchen counter, and the next day the tooth fairy shows up at my house and there's a $20 bill on the table, and they're like, "This is the greatest thing ever," and now they start saving, and so, for us, I feel like you can really start at a young age, you just have to find what's important to them, what is value for a 5, a 7, a 10-year-old, you know?
Oh yeah, no, I love that point about value.
Yeah.
Because once they understand their value, like you said, you can teach them essentially anything.
Yes.
So they understand their worth holistically. And with the Halloween example, you guys brought in budgeting, right? Like you didn't have to wait until they went to high school to maybe take the financial literacy segment in an econ or a math class, but you brought that classroom right to your kitchen table to say,
Yeah, between all the Halloweens and then the two teeth that they lost, they were rolling in cash. I was like, "Wow," and that's where it's important to start opening up a check or a savings account for
yeah.
them, and they get this balance, and they're like, "Look at that," and, "Oh my gosh, why did the credit union give me money for keeping my money?" And it's exciting to them.
Oh yeah, no, I love that. And to the parents that are out there who maybe you have not, done something like this, had these financial literacy conversations, you can do them now. Real practical examples that we are giving you that teach value. We want you to be financially literate, but we also want you to kind of be that holistic person where everything that you're doing has a value. You're not just spending money because it's a cool thing. We're talking about Jordans. You're not just buying Jordans just because they're popular. What is the value? What do you value as a parent? And then also to the kids, learning your value early. I mean, if you could put a price on that, I don't even know what that is. Like it is, worth more than $1 million, I think, just understanding
100%.
who you are as a person.
I think sometimes we make it more complicated than we really need to.
Yes.
And with kids, it's really not that complicated. Do you like this? Yes, this is valuable to me. There you go, you know?
I love it. And on that point about not making things complicated, everyday moments, what are some things that you or parents out there can use for an everyday teaching moment about value of money and how your student, your child can, just learn on the fly of just kind of those everyday practical things that you just do as a family?
Well, my daughters are older now. One of my daughters, she is in high school and she is starting to understand now that she's driving that value could be in how much money does it take to fill up my car? Like that, these are little things. So she'll say to my husband, "Oh, my car's on E." And he's like, "Okay." And I think he's expecting her to like, or she's expecting him to go out and fill it up. And he's like, "Okay, well, I'll pay for half of the tank. What you got?" And so that's value to her.
Yes.
Maybe she doesn't drive as much, take her friends. Maybe she gets a ride because she knows, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to pay for half of that tank of gas." And so little things like that, I think that we want to give our kids everything, but I think it is important to have them pay for certain things. Let them know, like, your tank doesn't just fill up,
Right.
you have to make sure that you assess a value to something like that.
No, I love that. It just reminds me of driving back in the day. Like I couldn't wait to drive. And before I had my license, I had a friend where we had to pay to get in the car.
There you go.
You talk about value
Yep.
where like it was $5. Like we couldn't even touch the door handle. He'd just stand outside. And we're from Michigan, so it's cold,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
snowing, and $5. So you had to have that $5. And then what you're saying, I had to earn that in
Yeah.
some type of way where if I'm doing chores, maybe that's part of my allowance. That if I wanted to go out and go to the movies, I had to put some type of value on that to say, this is worth that. So, yeah, flashbacks, but
Your friend is smart, I have to say, what an entrepreneur
yeah,
at a
it
young
was it was
age.
Uber before Uber, right?
Yes,
Like he
exactly.
literally, I'm telling you, it didn't matter. And the $5 could take you wherever.
Yeah,
So it didn't matter if we were going down the street or to another town. Like as long as we had the $5, he would take us
so smart.
anywhere. And it'd be like five of us in the car too. So
Just smashing in there.
exactly. Cool, cool. No, I love this conversation of where we're going and you talking about, your one daughter that's in high school. How old is your other?
My other daughter, she is in college. She is going to go into her senior year,
Nice.
and she's actually doing an internship right now at an accounting firm. And it's a worldwide accounting firm, big name. And she is really she told me this a couple of months ago when she first started the internships. I'm so glad you guys taught me about money because she's in the auditing side of the internship, and this girl knows more about money now than I do, but she's like, "You guys gave me a base, so I didn't walk in there blind." And now she's teaching me things. I'm like, "Wow, I had no idea that's how it works." So financial literacy never stops, no matter how old you are.
Never stops. And I think that's really cool to understand for those who are listening that you just gotta get in the game, right?
Yes.
If you are a sports fan, like I'm sure I know both of us are, you gotta get in the game of financial literacy, of financial wellness. And even if, like you said, your kids are no more than you, no shame. No shame. Give yourself some grace and understand that the more steps you take towards financial literacy, you're going to start learning some more stuff. You're going to start getting better with your savings, with debt management, with credit management, and just really start understanding the game of money. But you got to get in. You got to be an active participant.
There's so much to learn. There's so much out there, and I really appreciate learning things even as an adult about things like, interest rates and which loan is best. And, my daughter goes to college and we're like, do we need to get you some financial aid? And what's a Sally Mae, borrowing from the credit union? There's so many different aspects to it that are so important.
Yes. I remember, not even knowing where to look. There was a time where, I wasn't this person that you see, but the fact that, going to college and having to pay down debt and wanting to be financially free, debt free, it's such a cool journey. My wife and I have been on this journey. Anniversaries in just a couple of days
Oh, that's
for 4
awesome.
years, but, like, the things that we've done within that small time frame, I mean, we're almost debt free, and it's taken to learn about interest rates. It's taking to, you know, maybe not buy that car. Yeah, I want a fresh ride, I want a cool whip, but at the same time, we don't necessarily want to always, be in a situation where we're living above our means,
Yes.
like a lot of people do to, just kind of appear a certain way. We have a budget, we have goals, and we've been able to do them together. So yeah, I feel you.
I love though that you ask questions. There's no shame in not knowing the answers to financial questions. Someone out there can teach you, and I think my biggest thing is I'm just going to ask. If I don't know, what is this, 5-year loan? What are the benefits of this versus this 3-year loan? Can you explain this to me? Like, you have to ask the questions.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know,
Yeah.
and not knowing can hurt you financially. I think we've probably all have been, a victim of not knowing and feeling shame
Yes.
of,
Embarrassed.
well, I should know this, so I'm not gonna ask it. So I'm gonna be cool, and your credit score may be going down
Yes.
as are perceived that you know these things. So again, out there, if you are listening, we want to kind of remove that shame, that guilt, that doubt, that fear that everyone is on this road with you. And Silver State Schools Credit Union, we are here to help you become that financial literate family, that financial literate person that feels a little confident with your finances. And again, that whole person. So please don't worry. We've been there. We're still running that race. You,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So I love it. I love it.
The Financial Seeds podcast is powered by Silver State Schools Credit Union. At Silver State Schools Credit Union, our focus is to provide excellent member service and financial solutions for life. Now is the perfect time to lock in lower payments and more savings with SSSCU's new even lower vehicle loan rates. now starting at just 4.99% annual percentage rate. That's 4.99% APR, available for both purchases and refinancing. Members can drive more and pay less with SSSCU's new lower rate of 4.99% APR. Visit silverstatecu.com/drive to learn more and experience why Silver State Schools Credit Union is banking done better. Silver State Schools Credit Union finances up to 100% of MSRP for new vehicles or the Kelley Blue Book retail value for used vehicles. Additional terms and conditions to qualify. May not be combined with other offers. Rates, terms, and conditions are subject to change without notice. Must be a member to apply. Visit silverstatecu.com for more details.
So, just a couple more questions before we get out of here. I know we're talking a lot about parents who may just not know how to start. They may hear you and love everything that you're saying, but do you have any advice for a parent who just doesn't know how to get in the game?
I I have 2 things. One is it's really important to open an account for your child. I think that is one of the best things that we did, because not only did it get them on the path of feeling a pride that they have something, they've saved something, they've earned something. That I think is number one. And Silver State Schools Credit Union has been great for my kids. I mean, when my daughter got her first debit card to put in the ATM, she's like, "This is the coolest thing ever." Like, it makes them cherish what they've earned, and I think that's really important. The second thing, and I'm so glad I did this when we had kids, at the time I was like, I don't even know what this means," is start a 529 for your child. And if you are listening and you're like, "What is that?" I don't worry, because I said the same thing, and it's basically a savings account for your kid to go to college. Without that 529 for my daughter who's in college now, I don't know if we could have done it. And we had that basically every month. We would pay ourselves, and the money would go in there, and the money earns interest. It goes up and down. It's not interest. I misspoke, but we ended up making money in that account, and we're able to pay for her college. And $100, $10, $50, whatever you can put in that as the years go by, and they go by fast. Because before we know it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we did that." That would be my second piece of advice for sure.
Awesome. I love that advice. That kind of goes to kind of our seeds of wisdom, kind of that final takeaway is getting in the game.
Yes.
You got to get in the game when it comes to having that account, right? If they don't understand that, literally money does not grow on trees and there's a certain way of how this thing works, they need to establish an account. With us, we have that smart account for ages 10 to 17. So they can, again, I know she felt amazing by having that car. It empowers them. So that is something that we love to do here. And then, yeah, college. It's not free, can be for some, but if you have to pay your way through, that is a great way in doing that. And again, that education. A lot of people, what you just dropped, never even heard of that, but that's why they are here. That's why you are listening and or watching the Financial Seeds podcast, so we can have these normal conversations about how you can manage your finances in your life.
And I do want to say that, this podcast is really important. And if you have any questions, what's great is that every time I've come into Silver State Schools Credit Union with a question about something that maybe I'm not too well versed on, I've never felt stupid for asking a question. I've never been made to feel like, well, you should know that already. Every person here has always been like, yeah, let me explain it to you. And it's been great. So you may be a little intimidated at first to ask, but don't be, because you guys have been great. I've never felt stupid for asking a question.
I love it. And we have one more question 'cause I know
Okay.
you're a busy woman.
Oh,
And
I've got all day. Let's do this.
I want you to, I don't know if it's one word, I don't know if it's a phrase, but let's say we're speaking to that parent that still is, a little timid, a little scared of, they're not necessarily making the money that they want to. Their family situation, they're going through maybe some hardships, but they're listening to everything that we're saying. is there a phrase, is there one word that you would give them that can maybe change their mindset, the way that they value money? I know we talked about that, the way that they see their financial situation. Is there kind of any financial nugget that you could give that family where they kind of need a little more encouragement?
I think that for me, it would be the phrase slow and steady. We put so much pressure on ourselves, like, "I need all this money now," and I think that is self-sabotage, really. It's okay to say, "Okay, I just got paid. I can't afford to put a ton in savings, but I can put 10 bucks in there."
Yeah.
Or, "Hey, we were gonna order in tonight and, but, delivery fees and all this," and really, I used to hate when my mom said, "We have food at home," but no, really, like, can you go without doing that?
Mhm.
These little slow and steady things do add up. You'd be surprised at how they add up. So that would be my advice. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Really, just take it slow. Little things turn into big things. So give yourself, use the term grace, give yourself some grace. Be proud of yourself if you save 20 bucks that week because, 20 bucks times 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah.
I don't know, math guru, but
Yeah.
that's a lot of
Yeah,
money.
it adds up.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it really adds up, and I love that, you know. So everybody listening out there, slow and steady wins the race.
Yes.
That is something that we've heard, kind of that tortoise and the hare story, is we really want you to kind of have a marathon pace and not a sprinter's pace, right? This isn't a 100-yard dash. We really want you to understand the power, the value of your finances. And if you continue to literally keep putting that one foot over the next, you're going to get there. You're going to get there. And that's all that matters. Like, this isn't a time thing. We want to make sure that you're able to get there, and we want to get there with you, right?
Yeah, it's different for everyone. Everyone has a different road. Don't compare yourself to your neighbors. Don't compare yourself to your coworkers. You do you. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and do it at your pace. And it can be done. And I really believe that, if you need help, people like Silver State Schools Credit Union, that's what they want. They want the success. They want you to save. They want you to be financially literate, and that's where you can get help.
I love it. I love it. Well, we can talk all day,
I know. I know.
but I know you have to go somewhere. We don't want to hold you up, but we really thank you all for being here with us on episode 2 of the Financial Seeds podcast. We want to thank our guest, Mercedes Martinez, for being here with us, giving us the real, right? A real conversation with someone who is doing it and encourages you to do it as well. So please, if you have not done this already, we want you to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want you to follow us on all of our social media channels. And please share this with everybody and not just parents. If you know somebody, which we all do, please share this and let everyone know about the Financial Seeds podcast. Well, until next time, y'all keep planting those seeds. My name is JimDre, and we will see you next week.
The Financial Seeds podcast is powered by Silver State Schools Credit Union. Hosted by JimDre Westbrook. Co-hosted by Brianna Chavez. Produced by Leandre Fox and created in the Scott A. R. Kills production studio. The Financial Seeds podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended as financial, legal, or tax advice. All opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Silver State Schools Credit Union. Listeners should consult with a qualified financial professional for advice specific to their individual situation.